Okay, well, it's full time, I think. Leeds United 1, Bournemouth 3. Words can't really describe how I'm feeling right now. Um, but is it, yeah, there's almost not very much to say. Um, well, anyway, this is Gabe filling in for Connor today because Connor's ill. As you all know, we're seeing some people trickle in. Um, so listen, what I'm going to do is this: I'm going to break down a couple of things from the match, and then I really just want to highlight your comments and talk together as a group because I have to tell you, I'm pretty despondent after this. I predicted this result. Actually, I predicted the scoreline. I'm not the only one; many people did. But it's 4-1 now. Wonderful. But it's one thing to predict it; it's another thing to see it. I've never felt so embarrassed to be associated with this football club as a fan. Listen, I came to Leeds in 2009. Really difficult time of my life. And Leeds were in League One. The city embraced me. People embraced me. And even though the team wasn't very good, it was a pleasure to go down to Ellen Road. It was a pleasure to cheer for this football team. Because regardless of who we had out there, how we lined up, the manager, there was always a fight in this team. Didn't matter what kind of quality we had on the pitch. There was always a fight in this team. Now, I don't know what this club stands for anymore. I don't know who this team is. Just some comments really quick. This team have killed Connor. No one cares. Yeah. Listen, this is amongst one of the most upsetting results I've ever seen. And I truly believe we're going down now. I truly believe that we are the worst team in the division. We have the worst defense in the division. And just absolutely, we do not deserve to be in the Premier League. There it is. Luke, right on the money. We do not deserve to be in the Premier League. Listen, smashed again. Yep. Right. Correct. Let's talk about the actual match as it unfolded, and then I want to get your comments in, and we'll talk about together, where we think we go from here. The one thing I want to point out is that, so if you've seen Connor tweeted, he messaged Andrea Radrizzani privately. And this is a real, Connor doesn't make fake tweets or anything like that. He doesn't run a parody channel. He's tweeted to Andrea, "Cannot believe you've got this so wrong, Andrea." And Andrea replied, "I am broken. I am responsible for this expletive. Unacceptable. You don't deserve this. Ridiculous." Well, words are fine. It's fine to hear the words. But think about where this club has gone in the last season and a half. And just the lack of strategic thinking, the lack of planning, the lack of brain power that's led us to this position. We are far and away the worst defense in the league. We are now the worst team in the division, in my estimation, even though we may not sit last on the table. And I struggle to even fathom what we're going to do from here. We have 4 more matches to play. Or is it 3? I'm sorry. Maybe it's 3. We have Newcastle United. We have Manchester City. We have Tottenham and West Ham. So, yeah, that's 4. I don't see us getting anything out of those matches. Anything. Not even a point. This player pool is a collection of individual parts who do not care. I would go for like the minute-by-minute breakdown, but let's not even do that. I'm going to take one moment from this match that sums up this group of players. Now, there are exceptions. I'm going to talk about those. But the first goal we conceded. So we were Swiss cheese on the left. Every single moment of joy from Bournemouth came down the left-hand side. And anybody could see that in the pre-match lineup. Anybody could see it when the lineup was released, that we were going to be weak there. So, of course, Bournemouth goes down there. And there's a chance generated. Now, Weston McKennie's tracked the first man down towards the goal. But the ball pops up near the top of the box with a player charging in. And Weston gives a sort of half-hearted attempt to come up and block the shot. For me, that sums up this team. A bunch of individuals saying, well, I've done my bit. I tracked my man. This isn't my guy. And so they sort of half commit. No excuse. Melier, terrible on the second goal. Absolutely woeful. Robin Koch on the third goal. An error. Direct error on a clearance leading to a goal. Just a half-hearted stab out with his foot to block. These players don't deserve to wear the shirt. They don't. They don't deserve to wear the shirt. Let's get to the comments. Richard said, Gabe, did they quit at halftime of the Palace game or did they quit before that? That's just when it became apparent. Richard, I think that we got a little bit of a new manager bounce, and then the reality of this team set in. I don't think they were ever onside to what Garcia wanted them to do. I don't think Garcia knew his best 11. I think he was the wrong appointment. However, it's hard to blame Garcia when there was clearly no strategy with a plan after Marsh. They thought they were going to sack Marsh before the Liverpool game away at Anfield. You'd think they would have been talking to people in that time. They talked to Marsh for years before Bielsa went. So they clearly know, hey, it may take time to bring in a new guy. So, but instead they chased shadows and ended up with a guy they didn't want, Garcia. Awesome. Great. Cameron says, oh, sorry, Cameron, I can't get your comment. Yeah, here it is. 6 shots on goal, we conceded 4. Yep. This is a championship level defense. And even that, I think that they're mid-tier championship level defense. Jack says, hey, Gabe, what do we have to lose by sacking him? Try to get a new manager bounce, something we're down at the moment. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I tend to be like a data and analytics guy, and I love to jump in and see. We have gotten worse in every major category in goals conceded. No, I'm sorry. The only way we haven't gotten worse is we got 3 wins early in Garcia's term. So, like, yeah, his win record is better. But we, in terms of our goal differential, gone. We were -7. I don't even know what we're minus now. We may have one of the worst, if not the worst, goal differential in the division now. Get Skubala at the wheel. At this point, like, it feels like it's all futile, doesn't it? Like, what are we supposed to do? We can't stop the bleeding, but we're just going to keep conceding goals. What's interesting to me is that who was the best player on the pitch today? Willie Gnonto. And this manager thought, hey, let's sit this guy down for a number of weeks. No plan. And honestly, this is what we deserve. Not we, the fans. I got to tell you, what upsets me the most is, again, I'm going to go back to my time living in Leeds. 2009. League One. The noise in Ellen Road, the atmosphere, it didn't matter who we were playing, what team we were lining up. The Leeds United faithful will show up no matter what. They don't deserve this. I'm absolutely gutted. I feel like someone stabbed me in the heart after this match, even though I predicted this result. I'm not happy to be right. I'm pissed off. And the fact of the matter is that as much as I feel it, I'm not from Leeds. This isn't my hometown club. This is a club that I adopted after moving there in 2009. So I care a whole lot, but I don't pretend to feel it in my bones quite as much as some of you do. You don't deserve this. You don't deserve this. None of us do. It's terrible. Denza says, tough one to take, Gabe. As a Saints fan, our defeat to Newcastle today pretty much confirms we're down. Yeah, well, at least your boys show up and fight, Denza. Not all Garcia's fault. No, Garcia is easy to scapegoat, right? But again, we've clearly appointed a manager that doesn't manage the philosophical football style that would be conducive for this team, right? We're not a team that can just keep the ball. We're not a team that can just defend it in mid-block. We'll be able to hold Adams next year if we're relegated. No, we won't. He'll be gone out the door. All right, I'm trying to get some of the comments here. I don't want to just rant. I want this to be a sort of coherent stream. But honestly, I think we're all feeling the same way. So get your comments in. Tell me how you feel. Let's process this together. Did Connor want Bielsa sacked? Connor has come on the channel and said that he was wrong. And we've all done that, right? We do the best we can here with the takes, but Connor has since said, yeah, no, we should have kept Marcelo Bielsa, and I agree. I agree. It's hard to say otherwise now. The appointment of Jesse Marsch didn't work out. This is just as bad. So who stays from this squad, really? I have no idea. Some of the players from the original run are too old. Maybe the youth. Maybe a guy like Somerville stays. I don't know. I don't know. How is Connor feeling? He sounds rough. He sounds rough. And I can't imagine he's feeling any better after this. Might be too expensive to sack Garcia. Now, yeah, we've sort of painted ourselves into a corner, haven't we, John? We really have. Jess says, we sack Garcia, get relegated. Who are we going to next? Please tell me. I have no idea anymore. A young manager with ideas. I have no idea either, Jess. If you're coming in here as a manager, it depends how much talent we could retain, right? But Martin says, 17 goals in 5 games past us never happened with Marsch. I mean, it's not for me. It's not about Marsch. It's there was just no plan, right? They appointed a guy who's wrong for this player pool, and they built the squad around Marsch's style of play. So going to something radically different. So it's not about upping Marsch. It's about acknowledging the reality that there was no plan. That they chased Corberan. They chased all these guys across Europe who didn't want to come and weren't going to come, and were going to be really expensive to come if we wanted them to. Yeah, your username sums up how I feel. Can't really see anyone staying from this bunch, and some should never wear the shirt again. Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that. You know, Premier Championship, I'll be there. Just hope that some of the execs aren't. Yeah, agreed, and me too. Right, but man, this leadership group makes it hard. They don't feel the weight of the shirt. I agree, Harry. I agree. I've come up here and I've defended some of the American players against what I've thought has been unfair criticism. But I got to tell you today, that performance from Weston McKennie today shows me he doesn't care. All right, then go on to your next club. Great. Have a nice career somewhere else, but don't put on the Leeds shirt again. Don't you dare put on the Leeds shirt again. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable. Oh, my goodness. I've never felt this poor after a result. It can't be that the club fires a coach in the middle of the season. No replaying. Yeah. And 100%, 100% with this comment. I totally agree with this. That you wouldn't have been talking to other folks and have a real plan of when you kind of had a sense that it wasn't going to work with Jesse Marsch. Right. As a child, I recall my tears at relegation. This time around, it's bitter. It leaves a sour taste on my tongue. The players I see today do not represent our passion and desire. It's time for a reset. Something needs to be done. Something needs to be done because week in, week out, we're seeing the same types of performances over and over and over. And let's just say clearly here how Andrea Radrizzani and how Victor Orta could have looked at this defense. Look at the defensive display today. I'm not just going to pick on individual players because if it's not one guy, it's the next guy, right? But look at the defense and how they played, how easily carved open we are by a team that doesn't set the world alight offensively. We're supposed to stay in this division with that? 90% of them need to go. Yeah, Connor said it today in a tweet in our private thread. He talked about he doesn't think he's ever disliked a Leeds team this much. And I agree with him. It's very hard to like this team. Very hard to like this team. Melier needs to be dropped and maybe our defense will have some more confidence. It's almost a little bit too late for that, Roger, but I agree. We need to drop him now. Error after error after error after error. Look at other keepers in the division in and around our position on the table. And at least they turn up and save things. Or, when they have a clear run at the ball in the box, punch it away with some authority. Don't just flap at it like some kind of demented dolphin. Oh, my goodness. We gave up our identity, fired Bielsa, and who knows what happens next. Reactionary BS. Parachute package, and we come up next season. I don't trust this group. To get us up next season. They didn't really invest in the squad in a way that would get us get us up. It was Marcelo Bielsa brought this team up. He made mountains out of molehills when it comes to the individual ability of the players. He tricked the fan base into thinking that some of these players were Premier League quality when we finished ninth. It was a miracle, right? So I don't necessarily, I have no faith that this group is going to get us there. I'm trying to catch up to some of your comments. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind here. Talent we can retain. There isn't any to retain. Well, but we have some players on loan in the championship that I think would play really well next season for us in the championship. Cody Drama, Cresswell. These are players that if they come back, then again, like if some of them may end up in the Premier League next year, who knows? The rot for the entire season started with Jesse Marsch. Most of the team are his signings and are simply not up to the Premier League. I agree to that with that to a certain extent. What I would say is the rot started after we finished ninth and we didn't reinvest in the squad under Bielsa. And you could tell that certain folks within the club were leaking things like, oh, you know, he didn't want this player. He didn't want that player. He didn't want that player. And so we couldn't rebuild the squad for him. Bull, nonsense, absolute nonsense. They didn't invest. They didn't improve the side. And as a result, results plummeted under Bielsa, and they continued to under Marsch. The team is not good enough. The team is not good enough. If it wasn't good enough under Bielsa, certainly not going to be good enough under Marsch, although I do agree some of the signings have been a flop. We beat our own record in goals conceded in a month. Yeah. Rod Razzani said it was impossible to be relegated. I knew it was going to be a long year. Yep. You guys are very talented attacking. Okay, so this is a good comment here, NDC. It's not to say that nobody's talented enough to be in the Premier League, but it's just a mix of players. There is no team here. There's no team. There's no plan. It's woeful. It's woeful. Absolutely woeful. We had our chance during the World Cup to change the manager. Mistake yet again. Yeah, I mean, there were rumors that Marsch was going to be out after the Anfield match, right? So you would have thought if he was going to go out, they would have been talking to some managers. Instead, they waited, and then when they sacked him, we had Skubala for a couple matches, 3, I think. No plan. I mean, what do these guys get paid to do? My goodness. It's the players, not the manager. Well, it has to be both, but I get what you're saying. It's for me, it's the assembly of this team. My goodness. All right, let me get some of your comments here. Let me just get caught up here. So depressed. Having to console your child that Leeds will come up again is a pure lie. Manji, I feel bad. That's a tough comment. Only Leeds fans know this pain. Depressed. Yeah. And there are some clubs that have been yo-yo clubs, but you just don't believe it with Leeds, right? So Fulham went up and down, and look at them now. Do you believe Leeds United can do that under this group? I don't think so. Willie is special and showed his class. Forshaw brings calm when he comes on. Rocket is the worst football player I've ever seen. I don't agree that he's the worst football player you've ever seen, but I do agree with some of those comments. Do you think Drama and Jaffe come back into the championship, Gabe? I'm not sure. From everything I've heard from the club is that they want to sell Cody Drama. Don't know why, especially if we go down. But Jaffe, I'm not sure. I mean, listen, I know he's up for a fight, but he hasn't exactly been setting the championship alight at Sunderland either. So I'm not really sure what we do. I'm sure we'll recall him, and maybe he'll be playing for us for the championship. Yeah. I better not see one player tweeting disappointed, but we fight on. They can just do one. Yeah. I hate this team. It's a love and hate relationship, isn't it, RM? Isn't it? I mean, it hurts because you love them. But Bamford, Rodrigo, Somerville, and Nacho were in tears. At least they care. Cooper and Vobert clearly care on the pitch. Yeah, Matt Leeds. I agree with you, right? So I think it's easy just to say they don't care. They don't care. I think this is the problem when you don't assemble a team, because individuals trying to fire on the rest aren't enough. You need all 11 players on the pitch and the players on the bench as well to be dialed in, to be tuned into each other and to believe and to put forward maximum effort. I don't see consistently through the 11. If you're not talented enough, you have to be committed enough. And that's why, when I look at this Nottingham Forest team, right, or I look at this Bournemouth team, or I look at the Leicester team, Leicester just has more talent. I'm not sure that they're more committed than we are, but that they're more talented. But some of these other teams, I don't necessarily think they're more talented, but they're more committed. That's why I backed them to get results when we wouldn't. And we're starting to see it, which is terrible. Lee says, Gabe, my issue is the midfield. Defending, they stand in front of the ball, watching opposition midfielders run into a free shot. Yeah, I mean, I think you're talking about McKennie, right? Yeah, exactly. Like, you have to go the extra mile if you're in a relegation battle, and they're not doing that, right? We're not good enough to just sort of do the bare minimum. All right, let's get to more comments here. I'm dreading the Man City game. Yeah, me too. Me too. Jez Garcia realized he can make 5 subs in a unchanged formation. He looks like he's looked lost since the second half of the Crystal Palace match. Jake says our team in League One were more likable. I agree. I miss some of those Mike Grella teams, the Beckford teams. Bournemouth's manager has never managed anywhere before. Listen, I know we haven't done a lot of match analysis. This is more of an emotional therapy session together, but I do want to give credit to Bournemouth. All 3 of us on the debrief, Brownie, myself, Connor, we thought Bournemouth were going down, right? And one of the things we listed was one of the reasons was that, big unknown, the manager never picked an 11, at this level or really any. How wrong we were. He's done an excellent job. So, and Bournemouth played really well. They played above their level when it mattered, and good for them. Good for them. Don't want to take anything away from them, but at this point, I would take Bournemouth's side over ours right now. All right, let's get into some more comments here. We're about 22 minutes in right now. 793 of you in the building. Please, I know it's ironic to ask you to like this video because we we don't like anything right now. But please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Scooby says, Leeds, no Calvin, shocking. Leeds, no Adams, shocking. Okay, there's more to it than that, but it's true. Yeah, I mean, there's a correlation there, right? 100%. But we were still leaking goals with both those guys. The back four is woeful. Worst defense in the division. This team of tactics and leadership cannot get us re-promoted. Yeah, I mean, this comment sums it up from Connor Kavanaugh. Hopefully the football gods do us a favor and send Forest, Everton, and Southampton down, and we hang on by the skin of our teeth, Gabe. Cannot see Leicester going down. Yeah, we're now at that point where we know our team isn't going to save us. We know our players aren't going to show up and put a shift in. We're entirely reliant on the other teams below us to stink more than we do, and I'm just not sure we can do that. I'm not sure we can do that. Everton get to play Southampton. Not Everton. I'm sorry. Nottingham Forest get to play Southampton. We don't. I would love to play Southampton now, but even then, what did we beat them 1-0? They would beat us probably now. to be frank, no chance of an instant bounce. Back anything, we will bounce straight up. Backward dreaming. Yeah, Bison. I sort of agree with you there, but yeah. Anyway, I'm almost rendered inarticulate here, guys. I don't really know what can be said other than has already been said. I think the point here is to give us all a space to kind of grieve over our season together. My goodness. In all fairness, but as a biased 49ers fan, I believe in the 49ers front office, and maybe I'm dreaming here, but I feel our front office will be better than Orta moving forward. So, Adam, the one thing I want to distinguish here is that the 49ers have an investment group that's not the same as the management of the San Francisco 49ers front office. So they're two different entities, even though they're joint financially and they're part of the same consortium, but they're not the same. They wouldn't be the same guys. I think your point here is that Victor Orta does a really poor job, and I agree with you on that. But just wanted to clear up any misconception about how the 49ers stuff works. Speaking of, Adrian asked, will the 49ers still take over, Gabe? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. I think what I read was, and it was confirmed that the takeover isn't. They're not going to invest this kind of money if we go down. Only if we stayed up. So who knows? Who knows? Um, all right, we're going to go on for another 5 or so, but let's just focus on your comments here. All right, let's see here. Did Rodgersani actually tweet Connor? Yeah, Cloud Drizzle, he did. Well, he didn't tweet at him, but it was DMs. Let's see. Some of these are a bit repetitive, but I totally agree. The Marsh should have gone after Tottenham away. Yeah, no, I agree with you, Graham. But let's also think about this. Would you back this team to go to London and nearly beat a Tottenham side? No way. Not right now. So this is not to say that Marsh should have stayed because he needed to go, but it's unfathomable that they didn't have somebody in mind and ready to go when they got rid of him, which was too late. They should have probably done it earlier and had a succession plan. They didn't. We're in this predicament now. We're at a team that couldn't even get the results that weren't good enough then. That result wasn't good enough then. It certainly wouldn't be good enough now. We wouldn't even come up to that standard. Oh my God. It's one of the most stressful things. Let's see. BL, thanks for this. Least we can do is hit that button, Leeds fans. This channel is likely the best thing about Leeds right now. Listen, I got to tell you, the creator community, it's almost a good, at least we have this now to process this together, so we're not just doing it at home or in the bar. But my God. My goodness. Will Garcia be sacked, you think? You know what? Leeds United Ultras, I think he probably will be sacked after this performance. When Andrea Radrizzani is sending DMs to a fan channel, you know that there's a high degree of unhappiness over there. So, I'm not sure if it will make any difference, but if you just ask me to predict it, I think, yeah, he'll probably go after this match. Amazing fans and a club run by idiots. Yeah, it's really hard to argue with that. All right, before we go here, I guess I should probably say a couple things about some of the individual performances. Really good by Willie Gnonto. Single-handedly trying to get us back into the match there in the second half. All for naught, of course, but class delivery on the Bamford goal. If Bamford hadn't have scored that, my goodness. But one player, a lot of times we do this as fans. We think that one player is going to save our entire season. That's not how team sport works. And I also thought Somerville was lively. Let's see. I thought Ayling tried hard. I thought Bamford was better than I've seen him be. But that's all I have to say. I thought everybody else was poor. We're not getting any more points. Let's pray the other teams don't either. Yeah, hard to disagree, Pellegrino. Yeah, so there's talk about Graham Potter. I don't see him coming. I don't. No manager could get a tune out of this squad. So, John, this is kind of the point, right? So this is why the ultimate responsibility goes on Radrizzani and on Victor Orta and the squad they've assembled. Because you're right. Like, maybe a manager could keep us up. Maybe a manager could get one result here, one result there. But this is the worst defense I've ever seen in the Premier League. Ever. I've been watching the Premier League ever since I've had access to it. I've never seen a defense this woeful. Ever. I've seen teams that are maybe worse collectively, but for defense, never seen it. So the fact that we would spend 30 some odd million euros on a guy that we're not even going to get on the field instead of, investing in a defender, unfathomable. Good stream. I wish it was a good stream, Jamie. I appreciate the support. Connor's much better at doing this in an orderly fashion than I am. Right now, it's just woeful. It's just woeful. And, I'm not sure where we go from here as a club. I mean, we're not just getting beaten. We're getting beaten soundly by everybody. We're not even in the matches. There was never a period of time in this match where I thought, yeah, we're going to get something out of this. Nope. In the beginning, it was the same old Leeds. In the beginning, we had a decent run of chances, decent run of spell of possession, couldn't capitalize. They go down and score a goal. Then we concede another weak one. Then we get back in the game with a goal on a individual brilliant moment by Willie Nacho, playing a great ball in. Bamford, easiest finish of his life, which isn't always a guaranteed goal for us, by the way. And then it's just nothing. A couple other spells where we've been okay, but Gabe, is it possible for no one in the bottom five to win any games other than in the two where they play each other and then draw in both those and Leeds still not go down? So, John, to answer your question, it is not a mathematical certainty that we go down. Correct. I just think 4 matches left for us, 4 matches left for Forest, 4 matches left for Southampton, 4 matches left for Leicester. We're essentially, I think there's a less probability of us getting any points our next 4 than all 16 of those fixtures, resulting in no points for the teams that need them. That's what it comes down to for me. All right, we're about 30 minutes. I'm going to leave it there. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Oh, sorry, we got a super chat here. What about Vieira to replace Javi Garcia? I don't necessarily see it. I'm not necessarily sure it would make much of a difference now. And listen, thank you everybody for tuning in. I know this has been a pretty depressing stream. I'm going to go have a drink. It's only 11:23 a.m. I'm going to have a single malt scotch and I'm going to take it neat and I'm probably going to have 2 or 3. So I'm just not sure what to do and what to think. And, I started out this season with so much optimism. And here we are. It's hard to imagine where we, how we got here. But listen, if you want to keep dialoguing about this, I am on Twitter at GJ Stoutamore. Please feel free to tweet Connor at the One Leeds Fan Channel or at his own. Brownie's on Twitter as well. I'm sure he'd love to talk to you as he takes the long trip home from Bournemouth today. Listen, appreciate everybody. It means a lot to us. Again, please feel free to like and subscribe. We have a Patreon. Connor makes a lot of great content there, including Generation Leeds, where he talks with his dad, who's top guy, a great perspective on Leeds United. Listen, it's no fun right now being a Leeds United fan, but at least we have each other, right? So in that sense, marching on together or suffering on together, whichever you like. Anyway, we'll see you all next time. Thank you.